At dawn, the sun rose over the mountains, bathing the misty forest in golden light as dew sparkled on leaves and flowers. Birds filled the mountains with song while Yi Fan stood motionless, covered in blood after remaining still throughout the night. Nearby, Yan Yishi cultivated by absorbing the morning essence, while Li Tian joked that one companion had meditated all night and the other trained relentlessly, leaving him with nothing to do. When asked what troubled him, Yi Fan said he sensed an overwhelming pressure from the future. Although young ancient race prodigies like Huang Zudao, the Heavenly Prince, Yuan Ji Yu, Huo Qizi, and the divine silkworm Taoist were formidable, they were not his greatest concern. What truly worried him were the ancient ancestor kings. The emergence of even one saint-level ancestor king would bring catastrophe. As human saints were nearly absent in the current era, the primordial royal races each possessed multiple ancestor kings, and if full-scale war erupted, only forces wielding extreme Tao Emperor weapons could hope to resist. Li Tian lamented that life had been far easier in the Zawei star domain, where he could dominate with the divine maiden furnace, whereas the current world offered little hope. Although no ancestor king had openly emerged and some ancient races claimed they sought only land and immortality rather than war, no one could predict the future, and even emperor weapon inheritances without a living saint remained vulnerable. Yi Fan observed that the ancient races acted cautiously, repeatedly investigating the burial sites of human great emperors instead of acting recklessly. He and Li Tian believed the ancestor kings feared that the great emperors had left powerful arrangements behind. After thinking all night, Yi Fan devised a dangerous plan that might intimidate the ancient kings and delay their appearance. Even if carrying it out meant risking his life. Yi Fan's return after 12 years immediately shocked the 5 regions. Having crossed the starry sky and returned safely, he slew the patriarch of an ancient aristocratic family, 8 great experts, and 100 elites of Divine Spirit Valley in a single night, leaving the battlefield covered with corpses. Cultivators everywhere were astonished by his strength and discussed his killing of Wang Teng's father, believing it would reignite their deadly feud. Some praised him as nearly unrivaled among second heavenly layer of Sendai cultivators, while others anticipated battles against Zhang Huang, Hua Yunfei, Yao Guang Holy Sun, and the ancient race heirs such as Huang Zudao and Yuan Ji Yu. Many believed this unprecedented golden age would determine the strongest genius through endless bloodshed, with only one ultimately becoming emperor. Every major force focused on Southern Ridge. The Yin-Yang sect immediately ordered its disciples to avoid the region, while the 2 ancient assassin organizations reduced their activities, apparently preparing to strike Yi Fan. Their mysterious divine sons and daughters, trained to assassinate supreme experts, were expected to challenge the human saint body. Within the Ji family, Ji Zaihui was overcome with emotion upon learning that Yi Fan had returned from the opposite side of the starry sky. Smiling through tears, sealed in ice while recovering from grave injuries, Li Haishui rejoiced at the news and urged Yi Fan to avenge them by killing Li Xiaoman and Yuan Ji Yu. In the Wang family, Wang Teng roared atop his golden ancient war chariot, shattering the mountains surrounding his seclusion. Elsewhere, a solitary expert standing atop a towering black mountain looked toward Southern Ridge and calmly declared that the human saint body was worthy of being killed. Across the world, countless powerful figures turned their attention toward Southern Ridge, awaiting the upheaval that Yi Fan's return would bring. Deep within the vast mountains of the Southern Ridge, where apes howled, tigers roared, ancient beasts roamed, and strange birds filled the skies, the Barbarian tribe lived in a prehistoric wilderness. Constantly facing terrifying creatures had forged the entire tribe into formidable warriors. Li Tian eagerly enjoyed roasted golden feathered bird meat from a gigantic exotic bird over 20 meters long that Dongfang Yi had slain. The bird, once powerful enough to rival great cultivators, was divided among hundreds of tribe members, while fragrant roasted meat and aged wine created a festive atmosphere. Yi Fan sat with the tribe's elders discussing the upcoming campaign against the Wang family in the northern plains, eating meat and drinking wine while many barbarians enthusiastically vowed to destroy the Wang family. Dongfang Man explained that such meat was extremely rare because the bird had been an extraordinary beast capable of contending with mighty cultivators. The elders reminisced that barbarian children grew up hunting dangerous creatures, stealing giant eagle eggs from cliffs, and capturing flood dragons in deep lakes from a young age, leaving Li Tian astonished by their fearless upbringing. Soon, a group of children swung down mountain vines with incredible agility to join the feast. Suddenly, a colossal winged dragon-like beast with azure dragon bloodline flew overhead, shaking the mountains with its roar. Dongfang Man revealed that it was the barbarian tribe's guardian beast, personally raised by a former tribal chief nearly 4,000 years earlier. Although the chief had died over 2,000 years ago, the beast remained vigorous and had shown no signs of aging. Li Tian admired it as a living legend and joked that it could devour Yin Tian's descendants if they dared invade. Curious about other guardian beasts, he was shown what appeared to be a massive black rock beside the water, which turned out to be an enormous black tortoise with a dragon head. The elders explained that an earlier tribal chief had ordered future generations to care for it because it closely resembled, or was descended from, a legendary ancient turtle raised by an even older ancestor. Later, another guardian beast appeared, a gigantic white tiger raised by a gifted barbarian predecessor that had cultivated the ancient barbarian martial breathing technique and survived for more than 3.500 years. Yi Fan realized that the barbarian tribe was extraordinarily mysterious and powerful, explaining why the southern ridge had once belonged entirely to them. Over the following days, Yi Fan carefully discussed plans with the tribal elders because attacking an ancient aristocratic family would inevitably cost countless lives. Meanwhile, in Imperial City, one of the southern ridge's 10 great ancient cities, someone publicly shouted for the holy body to kneel and accept death, challenging Yi Fan before the entire southern region. After waiting many days for enemies to appear, Yi Fan was pleased that someone had finally come. When Yan Yishi questioned why he would fight just before invading the northern plains, Yi Fan explained that he intended to draw the attention of all enemies to the southern ridge, forcing them to concentrate their strongest experts there while the barbarian army secretly launched a surprise assault against the Wang family in the northern plains. Yan Yishi understood that this strategy would lure every potential threat away before striking the enemy's weakest point. The insults intensified, enraging Li Tian, who vowed to cut off the challenger's head. News spread rapidly across the southern ridge as everyone focused on Imperial City. As expected, the challenger was Wang Chengtian of the Northern Plains Wang family, a powerful second immortal Terrace Ninth Heaven cultivator who had reached fame long ago. Filled with hatred after Yi Fan had slain the Wang family patriarch, he publicly humiliated Yi Fan, claiming he had personally hunted and killed Yi Fan's old friends and would now kill Yi Fan as well. Yan Yishi judged that Wang Chengtian must possess either the ancient killing formation of the slaying self-Ming Dao art or an ancient saint weapon to dare challenge Yi Fan so openly. Yi Fan decided to meet him, while the divine maiden furnace in his hand emitted a strange radiant glow. Wang Chengtian calmly carried an ancient saint weapon capable of unleashing a devastating strike at any moment. Instead of killing Yi Fan immediately, he declared that he would first destroy the ancient mountain village protected by Yi Fan before his eyes. He activated a teleportation formation with several companions and vanished into space. Yi Fan, Yan Yishi, and Li Tian immediately pursued him, secretly hoping to seize the ancient saint weapon if fortune favored them. The entire imperial city fell into chaos as countless observers hurried to establish formations to witness the coming battle. After confronting Yi Fan again, Wang Chengtian launched the first attack, releasing a purple gold hammer that transformed into a bolt of lightning and smashed toward Yi Fan with overwhelming power. The surrounding mountain ranges collapsed under the terrifying might of the incomplete ancient saint weapon, whose destructive force resembled the arrival of the apocalypse. An incomplete ancient saint weapon, though heavily damaged, was still forged from miraculous divine materials and retained unimaginable power. Mountains collapsed, the wilderness shook violently, and all birds and beasts knelt in fear before the purple gold hammer, whose terrifying aura seemed capable of destroying countless worlds. Purple ripples spread across the land, reducing mountains, lakes, valleys, and all life to ruin. The barbarian tribe elders watched in fury, realizing the Wang family had attacked before they could launch their own campaign. When the waves faded, the mountain range had silently turned to ashes, proving that even a broken ancient saint weapon possessed overwhelming destructive power. The damaged purple gold hammer floated above the Wang family. Wang Chengtian stood confidently at first, but his expression froze when Yi Fan, Li Tian, and Yan Yishi calmly emerged from the attack completely unharmed. Li Tian mocked the broken hammer as unworthy of being called a saint weapon. The Wang family was horrified after seeing the divine maiden furnace in Yi Fan's hand. A complete inherited saint weapon left behind by a great saint. Wang Chengtian instantly realized death was unavoidable before such a treasure. He had borrowed the purple gold hammer to kill the holy body, restore the Wang family's honor, and strengthen his elder brother's claim to the position of family head after Wang Chengkun's death. But instead found himself facing an opponent with a superior inherited saint weapon. The Wang family cultivators trembled and begged for mercy. Yi Fan activated the divine maiden furnace, immobilized the purple gold hammer, erased its spiritual imprint, and examined it. He found that although it had been forged from extraordinary materials, its divine spirit had almost completely perished, making it possible to suppress and seize. Yan Yishi remarked that only the divine maiden furnace could subdue its weapon spirit. And although the hammer remained powerful, its severe damage meant it could only be used a few more times. Yi Fan considered it a worthwhile gain. Saint weapons required complete control over their weapon spirits. Otherwise they could kill their own wielders, which was why inherited saint weapons were rarely stolen successfully. Furious, Wang Chengtian accused them of stealing the Wang family's treasure. Li Tian answered by striking him with divine light, shattering his sea of bitterness, Dao Palace, and immortal platform, completely crippling his cultivation. Wang Chengtian fell into despair after losing the cultivation of his lifetime. The remaining Wang family cultivators immediately knelt and offered to answer every question. Yi Fan interrogated them to gather intelligence on the Wang family before invading the northern plains. When Wang Chengtian continued cursing everyone, Yi Fan stomped him into the ground and kicked him aside like a dead dog. After obtaining valuable information, Yi Fan handed the prisoners over to the Barbarian tribe, whose members brutally tortured them, especially Wang Chengtian. Before leaving, Yi Fan erased every trace of the battlefield to conceal the existence of the inherited saint weapon. Reinforcements arriving later from the imperial city found nothing. The Barbarian tribe then sounded its ancient war horns, summoning every expert from seclusion in every corner of the mountains to prepare for war against the northern plains after repeated massacre attempts by the Wang family. Yi Fan judged that the moment to invade had arrived while the major powers remained focused on the southern region. As the horns echoed across countless mountains, the tribe's terrifying strength was revealed. A colossal azure dragon carrying 9 3,000-year-old elders appeared, followed by a giant white tiger bearing more than 30 elders over 2,000 years old. Numerous ancient beasts arrived carrying powerful barbarian warriors, while countless others filled the mountains on foot or in flight, all armed with primitive but fearsome weapons. Li Tian and Yan Yishi were shocked by the tribe's overwhelming military strength, noting that many riders were great powers. A scout soon reported that the Wang family and several southern region forces were hunting down every barbarian settlement and had vowed to exterminate Dongfangyi's village. An elder declared that this was the Wang family's third massacre attempt and demanded a response. The entire tribe erupted with battle cries, vowing to invade the northern plains, destroy the Wang family, erase the ancient aristocratic clan from existence, and avenge their people. The old tribal chief officially ordered the full mobilization of the barbarian army, and countless warriors answered with deafening roars, eager to march into battle immediately. The Man tribe's elder declared that they would first slaughter the invaders who had attempted to massacre their people for the third time, using them as a blood sacrifice before marching into the northern plains to destroy the Wang family. The tribe roared with fury, vowing to kill every enemy who had dared invade their homeland and leave none alive. Yi Fan and Yan Yishi secretly sighed, realizing the attackers had no idea how terrifying the Man tribe truly was. From what they had witnessed, the tribe possessed strength capable of standing against any great power. War horns echoed like thunder across the mountains while countless ferocious beasts roared. Massive armored beasts filled the sky, forming dark clouds as the Man tribe's warriors charged forward, determined to annihilate every invader. The Wang family of the northern plains, one of the most powerful ancient aristocratic clans, had secretly coordinated forces throughout the southern ridge. Wang Chengtian had brought a saint weapon to kill Yi Fan and ordered his forces to exterminate the Man tribe. They had killed several young hunters and openly declared they would wipe out the entire tribe, never imagining the tribe's true size and strength. The Man tribe surrounded the invaders with an overwhelming army resembling heavenly soldiers descending from the skies. The attackers were horrified, recalling ancient legends that the southern ridge had once been ruled by the Man tribe before its disappearance from history. Realizing those legends might be true, they understood not only they would perish but even the Wang family could face catastrophe. Panic spread as they attempted to flee, but the Man tribe mercilessly slaughtered them. Wolf-tooth clubs crushed skulls. Stone axes split powerful cultivators in half. And blood flowed everywhere. Every invader who had come to massacre the ancient village was killed without exception. After the battle, the warriors returned with blood-stained weapons as the entire tribe celebrated. The bloodline inherited from their ancestors awakened their hidden ancient barbarian god blood, making them the strongest warriors in the southern ridge. Within the tribe stood an enormous ancient teleportation formation preserved since the remote past. Although ancient, every stone remained intact. An elder activated the formation, whose six-pointed star array resonated with the stars and could transport people across the world or even into outer space. Tens of thousands of Man tribe warriors assembled in orderly ranks and entered the giant portal. Before departure, the elders inspired everyone, reminding them that the ancestors had bestowed strength upon them to protect their people and honor. Their blood already boiled after the previous battle, making this the perfect moment to invade the northern plains. Unknown to the outside world, this terrifying hidden tribe had begun its expedition. Wave after wave of warriors disappeared through the teleportation array, eager for a world-shaking battle. Born as warriors, raised among savage beasts and accustomed to life and death combat, none feared war. Yi Fan admired their fearless mentality. When he asked whether anyone would remain behind to guard the tribe, an old warrior assured him they had sufficient protection. Casually glancing toward the enormous black tortoise lying motionless nearby, the army emerged in the vast and desolate northern plains, where endless grasslands stretched beyond sight and few people lived. Wolves howled across the wilderness as the silent army spread out, gripping their weapons. No one knew that the first campaign against an immortal inheritance since the Dark Age was about to begin. The Azure Dragon Guardian carried 9 living fossils through the sky, while the White Tiger Guardian, as large as a mountain, carried over 30 powerful elders. Golden divine mice, purple qilin, and countless other divine beasts transported elite warriors. The gray sky darkened under heavy clouds as immense pressure filled the world. The elders declared that this battle would determine life or death, either erasing an immortal inheritance forever or bringing about the destruction of the ancient Man tribe itself. The silent army advanced with terrifying killing intent, gathering strength for a devastating strike. Meanwhile, cultivators in the eastern wasteland, central plains, and western desert focused their attention on the southern ridge, believing Yi Fan stood alone against the great sects, unaware that the true battlefield had already shifted to the northern plains. Yi Fan led the Man tribe army to within about 1,000 li of the Wang family. Thick dark clouds covered the sky while countless bare-chested warriors wearing beast hides marched silently with clubs and stone axes in hand. The elder divided the army into 4 forces to surround the Wang family. The ancient Azure Dragon Guardian, carrying 9 living fossils, led the assault on the main gate. The White Tiger Guardian, carrying more than 30 terrifying elders, attacked from the north. The tribe's chief rode a giant golden eagle and led the eastern assault while wielding a terrifying stone axe that emitted the aura of an ancient saint. A saint weapon left behind by a great saint. Yi Fan took command of the western assault, wielding the incomparable divine maiden furnace. Holding the furnace, he sensed that both the Azure Dragon and White Tiger Guardians also carried the aura of ancient saint weapons. The plan was to attack from 4 directions simultaneously, shatter the Wang family's ancient divine formation before they could react, and overwhelm them in a single decisive battle. Whether the Wang family would be erased from history or the Man tribe would perish in the northern plains would be decided in this battle. A bolt of purple lightning split the dark sky as the Man tribe launched its full assault against the Wang family of the northern plains. Dark clouds pressed low over the earth like countless black mountains, filling the air with suffocating pressure, as the southern ridge barbarian army came within a few hundred li of the Wang family. Tens of thousands of warriors launched a lightning assault. Savage beast cavalry surged forward like a black flood, while barbarian master archers unleashed ancient barbarian divine arrows that instantly wiped out hidden sentries. Ground and aerial scouts alike were killed before they could send warnings, and hidden aerial fortresses were destroyed by airborne cavalry riding exotic beasts. Every obstacle was crushed beneath the unstoppable advance. Yi Fan and Li Tian were astonished as the blood energy of every warrior merged into a single crimson aura, making the entire army resemble an invincible legion of ancient war gods. 50 Li from the Wang family. The final defensive fortress finally sounded the alarm. But it was too late. The barbarian iron cavalry smashed through the ancient stronghold, destroying floating war palaces and slaughtering every defender. Even two great powers were killed by an elderly divine archer. The warning bell, silent for over 10,000 years, finally echoed through the Wang family. But within moments the iron cavalry had already reached the clan. With earth-shaking battle cries, they swept aside dozens of defensive palaces and surrounded the ancient family's mountain stronghold, launching an all-out assault driven solely by vengeance. The four gates were attacked simultaneously with ancient saint weapons. In the south, the nearly 3.900-year-old Azure Dragon Guardian unleashed the damaged Azure Dragon Saber, whose single slash tore open the southern saint formation. In the north, the White Tiger Guardian wielded a cracked bone staff forged from an ancient saint's armbone, smashing open the northern defenses. In the east, the previous barbarian chief personally led over 10,000 warriors, wielding the flawless stone axe left behind by the barbarian great sage, shattering the eastern gate with one devastating strike. In the west, Yi Fan activated the divine maiden furnace with solar holy power, repeatedly striking until the western gate in its ancient formation collapsed, allowing over 10,000 iron cavalry to charge inside. With all four gates breached, the Wang family's defensive formation became useless. Though the Azure Dragon Saber and White Tiger Staff were damaged, the Guardian's immense strength fully compensated. The immortal ancient family's floating islands, divine mountains, and palaces were smashed apart as the cavalry stormed inward. Wang family experts rushed out in shock, demanding the attackers' identities, unable to believe anyone could destroy their defenses so quickly without several saint weapons. Standing in the sky with black hair flowing, Yi Fan declared that he was the very Yi Fan they had tried to kill and had come to exterminate the Wang family and flatten their ancient clan with his iron cavalry. An earth-shaking battle became unavoidable, one destined to cover the grasslands in blood and heap bones into mountains.